All right, let's get this going. We'll shut the music off. Switch over to our scene here. Excellent. Welcome in, everybody. Ducks, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hey guys,
Okay.
how's everybody doing?
Excellent.
Sir, how are you doing today?
Oh man, so much better than this morning. I think Erg and
Glad to
Orion were
hear it.
there. Yeah, it was a rough morning, but we powered through. So
Cool, cool.
yeah, awesome. Yeah, so while folks are getting in, we'll just hang out for just a second. Again, welcome in Erg, welcome in Ryan. Thanks for joining us for episode 2. Um,
Yeah. Hey
yeah,
guys, very exciting.
yeah, we put some extra work in on this one this week for sure. Dux has been super busy, so glad to have you here, man. You've got a
hmm
full week. How are you feeling?
Yeah. Feeling good, feeling good. Yeah, I'm streaming every night this week, but not having to actually run OBS to broadcast today is is
Yeah,
pretty nice. It's pretty helpful.
all the pressure's on me, so if anything gets screwed up, it's all my fault today.
Yeah, it's all on you, man.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, been super busy with streams all week. We got one more to do tomorrow, and then I'm gonna take the weekend off and just get out of Dodge for a little bit.
Nice, nice. You're gonna unplug and go out into nature.
Yep, just kind of escape and disconnect.
Mm,
But I'll
excellent.
be back next week. No problem there.
Nice, nice, nice. Cool. Well, I know you guys, Erg and Ryan, you probably know us a little bit. We're gonna still do our traditional intro, just a
Mhm.
little bit of background about ourselves, not only for you guys on the stream, but for anybody that oh, what? Look, he's already going. Wow, getting crazy there. Anybody that watches the video in the future, we wanna make sure that everyone kind of gets a feeling for what Ducks and I bring to the table, what kind of experience we have leading up to us putting on this show. So,
Mhm.
again, my name's Scott. I go by Nerding here on Twitch and on Twitter. I have 2 degrees, background in marketing and in information systems and technology. Professionally, I just quit a job. I can't say I just because I mean, it feels like it's been forever, but it was only in March that I actually quit my job. Uh,
Right. Yeah.
I was there for 8 years doing IT sales, configuring network configurations, and selling back end network equipment to Fortune 500 companies. So um, I do a lot of account management and stuff like that in the past, and it's kind of what I'm leading towards here, but more in the gamer space. So one step at a time, I've decided to start streaming, and I'm having such a fun time with it. So much fun, so much support from the community. Ducks, you're there. Everyone that I've met has just been so fun. Even the trolls.
Mhm.
It's funny even when the trolls show up, like we had this morning. So, um, my gaming background, I started with the NES. And the Super Nintendo was probably my main system that I wore out more controllers than I can think of on. I When I bought a Nintendo 64, I purchased it myself and had to put it on layaway and make payments at Toys R Us. Again, I've had a Nintendo system. I think every single one, except for maybe the Wii. I don't think I had the Wii.
Mm.
Also a big PC gamer. Back in the Doom days and Diablo and all of those fun games. Yeah, and now I'm definitely a variety streamer, and yeah, I'm just excited to continue the journey here, build a good community, and share that community with everybody that comes around. All positive vibes for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so Ducks in Disguise here. Community calls me Ducks. I'm good with that. Um, so a little bit about my background into how I got into this and the technology behind it and stuff like that. Professionally, I also work in marketing. I also work in new technology development in the corporate world. So things like speech recognition, corporate gamification, things like that, which kind of ties back into video games. So my job's kind of fun. Um, but yeah, so that space has really allowed me to develop a lot of skills in photo editing, video editing, a little bit of programming, things like that. And streaming was kind of the way for me to tie all that together because it all does play a part. You got to kind of have all those skills to put on an effective stream, I think. So the professional world has definitely been good to me, and of course it pays the bills, so that's important. But yeah, streaming it's just been an amazing, incredible journey. I love what I do here, and meeting up with all the fantastic people in the community, it's just been great. Video games have always been a part of my life. I too started with the NES. That was my first console. There's pictures of me holding NES controllers that I don't even remember. I was so young when I started. And then, similar to you, moved on to the Super Nintendo, and that's where the love of gaming really kind of blossomed and solidified as like, okay, this is a part of my life now. Super Nintendo's amazing. I did wait for the Wii, though. I got a Wii on launch day, and there was so much hype around it that I waited outside of a Walmart for 17 hours in November to get one of these things. And I was like 7th person in line. Short little story about this. One of my buddies that I know, he showed up at like 10:30 at night. So about an hour and a half before everybody was going to get their consoles, and the whole line's there. And he's like, how long have you guys been waiting here? And we talked about it.
Yeah.
The retail guy comes walking around, and my buddy's like, hey, are there any left? And he's like, no, but I can put you on a wait list. So if somebody drops, then you'll get one. Sure enough, somebody dropped out of line, and he got one after waiting there for about an hour.
Wow. Jeez.
So that was a little frustrating for me,
Yeah.
but going home and playing Wii Sports for the first time, and like all my buddies came over, it's like, it's midnight. We got it. Come over. Let's play. And Wii Sports was just mind blowing at the time. Like, I got Zelda and Red Steel with it, but we didn't touch those games. We played Wii Sports. So gaming is a huge part of my life now. It is mostly Nintendo stuff. I do play a bit on PC as well. I build my own PCs, so I do love PC gaming. Much like you, I did play the old stuff, Doom, Wolfenstein, the old Sierra games, LucasArts, stuff like that, way back when. But then I picked up PC gaming again. I want to say about like 7-8 years ago, something like that. When I really started building more high-end PCs, I was like, well, I could just throw a graphics card in here, and then I won't need an Xbox.
There you go.
So between PC and Nintendo stuff, that's where I spend most of my time. But it's one of those things that'll be with me forever, for sure.
Yep. And it's the gaming industry's not slowing down anytime soon. We're both interested in I think PS5, right? That's the one you're looking in. Xbox Game Pass. Thanks for the lurk, man. Game Pass just seems to make it so. Oh, hey, look, there's Farrell. What's up? Yeah, Game Pass.
Hey, Farrell.
Yeah, no need for a Xbox, in my opinion. If you can get them all and play them on your PC.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to stick with Game Pass for the next generation, but I'll probably just end up getting a PS5 as far as consoles go. Unless Nintendo does something new with the Switch, then I'm all over that.
Yes, sir. Cool. All right. Welcome in, Farrell. Thanks for stopping in. So this episode of Going Live, we're going to talk about basic setup of OBS, and then Duck's going to dive into a little bit more fancy, fun stuff here towards the end. He'll actually have the screen up. It's kind of hard to share OBS when you're broadcasting with it, so Duck's is going to be kind enough to pull it up, and we'll have some surprises and good stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time. Looking forward to this, man.
Yep.
Awesome.
Cool. Let me get my screen share pulled up here. Boom. There we go. All right. So that looks kind of familiar. You see that? It's kind of like the Matrix there. This is a screenshot I took of me just, with my backdrop, my OBS. One of the first places that you're going to want to start when you get into OBS is down here on the settings panel. You can't really go live without actually connecting your OBS and Twitch. So over here is a settings button. So you'd click in there. Oop, I'm way too far back in my thing. Let's go. There we go. We'll start back at the beginning. Okay, here is the beginning of the settings. The only thing in this general area that I even ever mess with is the dark setting. You want to put it as dark so you don't burn your eyeballs out.
Totally agree.
Yeah. Let me put this, and now something's bugging me because I feel like it's blocking your head off. And now I want to fix it.
Here, I can just...
I just dug down. No. We got it. Watch this.
All right.
Let's let's see, where is it? Why is it?
So this is, yeah, right, Farrell? Very appropriate. I ducked down. But so we'll kind of get into this a little bit more, but this is very much, it's layering, right? So when you're
There we
working
go.
in OBS, it's all about knowing how to manipulate your layers to get the look that you want. So see, now my
Yep,
hat's back.
now his hat's there. There we
Awesome.
go. All right. Once you pass that test, you get into where you actually put in your stream information. So you want to select the service as Twitch. Your stream key will be provided by Twitch, and you would just put that in. Here's also one of the things we talked about before is the inspector.twitch.com. You could actually get the a key from that and put that in here, and that will block your stream from going forward, like from actually broadcasting out. So that's where you would put that in there to test your output settings right there. So just a quick heads up on that. And we did kind of talked about this on the first stream. Hey Sigma, what's up? Thanks so much
Hey,
for
Sigma.
coming in. Never share your stream key. Absolutely correct. Great tip.
Hey, Crit. How's it going?
In the output settings, I usually select this with advanced. Dux and I talked about this, about the encoder that you use is really important, especially if you're using a single PC setup. That, to me, you want the encoder to be encoding done on the GPU, not on the CPU, not on the main processing unit, because the CPU is already going to be doing a million other things. So try to get that on a encoder. This is the most recent one, and it's a really awesome one. If you're having problems with like chop or lag or anything, bitrate's going to be a good place to focus your attention and try to get that down. Again, I think you use the same bitrate as I do, right? The 5500.
Yep. Important note on the bit rate. It's really going to be heavily dependent on the game you play and the quality that you're streaming at. So Nerding and I, we stream at like a higher resolution. I believe you're at 1600 by 900, and I'm at just slightly higher at 1080p. So that 5500 kilobits per second, you're definitely going to want that there. But if you're going to play something faster paced, like say Overwatch or Apex or something like that, that's really fast paced, keep that bit rate where it is and change your canvas resolution down to like 720p or something like that.
Yep.
Otherwise, what you're going to end up with is really pixely gameplay, and that's no fun to watch.
Yep. And like Sigma says, your upload stream speed also plays into effect there. So sometimes you have to again kind of tinker with that to make sure that you get the best output for what your system and what your internet can handle. Cool. On the next one, audio. I don't really mess with audio that much. I do have this set at 48 hertz right there. Again, I don't really mess with that. Have you? Oh, I guess the audio inputs right here, the global inputs are important for me because I bought the Wave link from Elgato. That kind of takes all the stuff away from having to manage it here, and I just have one mixer, I guess, a digital mixer to do all my mixing in there. So makes it pretty simple for me.
Yeah, so I will add a note on the sample rate. If you're using a USB microphone like mine, it's probably going to have its own Windows audio driver, which means it's going to set a default sample rate within Windows. Make sure that matches your sample rate here. Otherwise, you're going to get all kinds of weird audio artifacts, and you may even lose audio altogether midstream. Trust me, I've been there.
Yep.
Don't do it.
And Crit brings up another good point. For affiliate, the cap is 16K anyways. So, I mean, if you try to go over that, it's not going to matter anyways. Twitch will just rate you down to, what their cap is anyways. So they do give preference to partners. I think they get a higher bit rate. So just again, keep that.
We'll get there someday.
All right, video is what we were talking about just a second ago. I'll zoom in a little bit more. So the base canvas, I leave that at 1920 by 10, but your output, that's where I scaled that down to 16900. That seems to be work really good for my streams. And again, it's helped a lot with, I wanted to still keep a good quality, but not, try to, not have it come through as well. Because once you get too high quality, it can degrade because of the bit rate.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. All right.
Yeah, and the scaling, if you're going to be doing scaling from a base to an output resolution, and you're going to do something extreme, like say 1080 to 720, just make sure your PC's up for that. A little change like this isn't going to give you too much of a performance hit, but if your canvas is much bigger than your scaled output resolution, you might run into some problems.
Yep. All right. Hotkeys. I don't use a lot of hotkeys. The only one that I ever went in and did was to mute my mic. Just a quick. I don't have a stream deck or anything like that, so I can just hit the minus key on my keyboard to mute my mic real quick. Now I have the top button on my mic with the new one too, so I don't hardly ever use that hotkey anyway either.
Mm-hmm.
But you could definitely go kind of crazy with hotkeys if you had a if you wanted to do that.
Yep, and I'll cover a little bit of hotkeys, nothing too fancy, but I'll kind of show that functionality in a more visual format as we're going through the OBS setup.
Cool. And then last thing on the settings here is advanced, and I honestly can't think if I've done anything in the advanced settings. So I'll zoom in a little bit, but I think I leave it pretty basic. Again, my goal is to keep it as simple as possible, so I don't have to tweak anything every time. Any of the basic settings, again, it keeps it simple for yourself, and you don't have to remember. Oh, I went and changed this, one little thing, and it screwed everything up. So, anything in the advanced, obviously I can't scroll through all of them, but anything in the advanced settings that you usually focus on?
For me, it would be the stream delay. So I don't use it often. Most of the time I don't. You typically don't want to use that unless you're in an extreme circumstance. Say you have a troll that you're expecting or something, somebody who's been in your channel that comes in and you're like, I don't know about this person. I'm not quite ready to ban them, but at the same time, I want to be able to, my mods to have a chance to get rid of messages before they show up.
Right.
And that's where you do it right here, a stream delay. So you can enable that, put the duration at whatever you want, and that way your mods can see the chat messages roll in before they actually go out to your crowd. That does create a bit of delay, which can hurt your interaction. But
Right.
like I said, in extreme circumstances, it is an option.
Right. Okay. Cool. Awesome. That's good to know. That's a tip I didn't know.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Good stuff. Yeah. Okay. So after you hit that, you just apply your changes there, and then you're off to back to your main screen here. The main thing about OBS is focusing on. Oh, I keep doing that. Click on the wrong thing. Is scenes. So setting up scenes is really where you can personalize and change what you're showing to the audience. So as you can see here, I have, how many, like 7 scenes right here. I've got a starting, be right back, just chatting. All of these have different sources applied to them based on what I'm trying to do. So to add a scene, you just hit the plus button and you'll get a add scene section right here. And then you just rename it, make sure it makes sense to what you're doing, and then hit OK, and you can start adding sources to it. So I went back real fast. The sources are very important. There's a lot of different sources, and again, this is where you make all the magic happen. And before we jump into what those are, layers. Like you guys saw that we're here at first, I had a layer above Duck's head, and it was cutting off the top of his head. So we had to had to rearrange those real quick so it was actually behind him. So the order of these is important to what goes on and where they not where so much on the screen where they display, but just again the order in which they display.
Yeah, so you can think of this as like a stack of your sources, right? So the stuff at the very top of the list, that's going to be your very front layer.
Yep.
Anything below that source in the list is going to show up behind it. So just kind of keep that top to bottom theology in mind when you're working with your sources.
Yep. So if you hit the plus button down there, you get this setup right here. Again, this is the list of all the stuff are all the sources that you can put in. One of the main, or not one of the main, but the main ones we use are like the image, video capture, media source. So media source is if you want to have a movie playing in the background, if you have it local to your machine. If you have something like I use my overlays from Stream Elements, so all I have to do is present a browser code, and that is plopped in right there, and it does all of the computing on the back end. So that helps again with the resources not being gobbled up by videos and stuff like that being played. Images are pretty self-explanatory, just a static image. I don't use that scene. You could add text and stuff right there. Again, I use most of that with the overlays that I create in Stream Elements. Excuse me. And you can also group stuff together. So if you want to put a picture and some text and stuff like that together and move them around, keep them the same, you can group them together. So and the way that we're displaying this, I should put my mouse over here, is just through a window capture. So it just focuses in on a specific window. I know one of the questions that we got was, how do you put two pictures? How do you have me on my camera and Ducks on his camera on the same scene? Well, we have a window capture. We're using Discord video call. Yep. See, so Crit knows about grouping, but we use the Discord video call, and I just take the camera presented from Discord and use it as a window capture, and then crop out the rest of the stuff that we don't need there. So Dux has a green screen, and we just green screen him right into the same scene that I have. It's actually pretty cool. Like I was actually going in and trying to do the math and calculate how far I needed to cut it down. And Dux is like, no, dude, just hit the Alt button and minimize it. So got some good tips from him just from starting this. So, yep, that's basically the secret. It's just getting a separate camera window and using the window capture to present that back onto the scene here. When we do sorry, did you get something there?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, yeah, the little shortcut with the Alt key is something that I don't think a lot of people necessarily know, but it is huge for being able to crop out sources, be it video cameras or GIFs or whatever you're putting up here.
Yep.
Just remember, hold that Alt key and then drag the handle. It's a lot easier than trying to crop things a different way.
Yep. The other thing is when we do a screen share, we also do we've used Teams. Like if Dux is going to be on screen or on camera and he's going to present something, we just use the Teams app and he can present his computer screen at the same time. Today we'll do something a little bit different because he's doing OBS, and OBS camera stuff doesn't like to cooperate sometimes. So we found a workaround for that. It's gonna be cool. Can't wait for you guys to see it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go back real fast. One of the places, once you get your scenes, you get your sources set up. The things that you're going to want to monitor are down here, the stats. So, you want to see how your frames, if you're having a ton of frames missed, it's kind of like how do you diagnose what's going on in your, in your stream. Skip frames due to encoding, so that's based on the the encoder that you have. And then this stuff right here, this is the drop frames in network. This is, based on the bit rate that you're using. So, I have that zoomed in here. Again, it's kind of the same picture, but just a little bit more zoomed in for us. And then the last thing, again, I'm going to go back to this, is if you right click on any of these, there's also other features and like filters or things that you can do to modify any of the sources. So back here is a list of all the sources that you can do. So you could add another source. When you do the cameras and you have a green screen, you have to put a chroma key and a filter on. So you have to click that filter and add that in there. So a lot of good stuff use these quite a bit. Mostly that transform. If the camera that you're getting from Dux is he's facing the wrong way, so it looks like he's facing off of the screen, you can just flip it horizontally, and now he's facing me, so it looks like we're having a conversation. So a lot of good tips just for and really easy to change your stream just to get it dialed in just right.
Yeah.
Let's see what. Oh, that's another one. Oh, this is the main. So if you click, let me get back. Sorry, I'm gonna jump back. Maybe. If you click on the main screen here, you also get a different set of options. So this is the last screen I have here. So one of the things that can kill your bit rate is having the preview on. If you turn that off, you won't see yourself on the scene there. It'll just have a blank thing that says enable or enable preview. Locking the preview is really helpful too, so that you don't accidentally click and drag something off into a different place that you don't know where it's at. And again, you can do more of the transform and the order stuff there. So again, these are just, again, those are the basics. I just wanted to cover those to let hopefully someone, saw something that they didn't know about before, or didn't realize that you had to layer things, or, hopefully some of you guys that are coming just from streaming from a console, when they get into this, they can use that information, and it kind of helps alleviate some of the stress of getting that put together. So
I already learned something.
Oh, yeah.
The enable preview. I
taught Duck something awesome. Yes.
Yeah, that enable preview. I didn't realize that was even an option. Some of my scenes get. If you guys have seen my streams, some of my setups get pretty complicated. And it'll be nice to get some of those resources back.
Yeah,
because my PC at times it's like, oh, we're getting there, man.
Yeah. So. Hey, what's up, Titan? Thanks for
Titan,
coming in, man. Yeah, again, I get my stream going and I turn that off because it just starts, the more things you have running, the more, computing it has to do. It kind of starts eating those resources, and you know how we hate the resources being taken away.
Yeah, especially if you're in studio mode. That's a great tip, Sigma, because there are some scenes that I use, like for the arcade, or sometimes on Viewer's Choice Night, if I'm doing shelf talks and stuff like that, where I do have it in studio mode, and you're right. Woof, that eats resources, because you're basically rendering two separate scenes at the same time and then real-time switching over.
Yep, yes, sir. Cool, awesome. Again, glad that that's awesome. I got to teach you something. There we go. Hey, guys, had a couple of minutes, so I wanted to... Hey, what's up, Praise?
Hey, Praise, doing well. How's yourself, man?
Oh, thank you so much for the cheer. Appreciate it, sir.
Yeah.
All right, so let me go back just real fast. I want to mention this because this is what we're gonna be doing a lot of this here in a sec. Right down here on the sources, these eyeballs, right, to make them appear and disappear, is key too. So you see how I have all these kind of off. So when I click I'm gonna clip one of these, and we're gonna not see my window anymore here. So there we go. Now we're back to just seeing the slideshow that I have there. And let me get that out of here. Cool. That is what we're gonna do for that. And then Dux, I'm gonna turn it over to you, and you're gonna do the live version.
Awesome. Let me go ahead and turn off my camera, and hopefully don't disconnect my call. Okay, so we still got audio. Good stuff.
It's still capturing the Discord screen, so we'll just get rid of that, and we'll bring Dux back right there. There we go. We still have a Dux, guys. We didn't lose him. He's still here.
Didn't lose me. Still there. I don't sound like a robot or anything. We're good.
I think you need to deepen your voice and.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, right. I'm here to kick ass and eat bread, and I'm all out of bread. Okay. All right. I've got a scene up here, but I want to switch to a more basic one to start with. And I have to re-enable my camera. So I'll tell you guys this right now. If you're switching between Discord or even just sometimes in OBS, for some reason, it might be the way that Elgato's cam link works. But oftentimes my camera won't be visible. You don't need to freak out. What you need to do is go into your camera source And actually, why don't I share my screen so I can show you guys what I'm talking
As soon
about?
as I see your screen share here, I'll pop it back up on here for everyone to check out.
Screens. And then this one is the one I want. Okay, go live. Just need to minimize that.
Okay.
Okay.
Just change this. There we go. Look at that.
Praise, that's
movie
funny.
magic. It is so
movie
good.
magic. Okay, so right now this is what one of my bases looks like before I have any video sources added to it. Well, I should say they're added, but they're not active. If I go into my Elgato here and I go into properties, you'll see it looks like it's activated. It's also selecting the wrong source because I'm in Elgato. But there we go. So now I've got a game capture up. I can go into properties. All I got to do is make sure my device is my cam link or whatever device you're using. Deactivate, reactivate, and what do you know? My camera's there. So that's a handy little trick for you guys. If you're running into that issue, you can certainly solve it that way. It does happen a lot, especially when you're dealing with Discord in your stream.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to also show what I was talking about before with the cropping and how easy this is. So I'm going to turn off my Elgato, and you'll see that on my camera here, I've got a bit of the wall around my green screen, and that's no good. So all you got to do is hold the Alt key on your keyboard, grab one of these little squares and drag it, and OBS will just crop that for you.
And that was
So-
like you blew my mind when you showed me that. I seriously spent so much time trying to figure that out. So
It is such a big time saver.
Yeah.
I also had a lot of issues with cropping because, as you can see, I use a lot of different imagery and things like that on my overlays. So that's a huge important tip there, and just placement in general, right?
Yep.
Laying things out so it's pleasing to the eye, so people have something to look at. So I always try to frame up my game capture separately from other things, and I just made this little frame in Photoshop. Then I've got my stat counter down here. So this stat widget is also from Stream Elements, and it's free. You can go out there and get it. It is called the Alpha Gaming. If you follow the YouTube channel, I believe it's Harris Heller runs that, and they built this. Anybody can use it. You just run out there, set it up, and it gives you a URL that you add as a browser. So you go in here, you add as browser. Once you get into browser, you just want to paste that link in here. And then you might want to adjust the width and height. It defaults to like 800 by 600, which leaves like a square basically. But for something like this, I wanted it a little, slimmed down, but longer. So 1300 by 300 is how I set it. And I still cropped it a little bit. But you can use that crop with other things other than cameras, be it a browser source, text box, whatever it is. You can use that with anything. So extremely useful. Extremely efficient, right? Time saving. That's what we're looking for.
I use that same feed, and then you can customize it to in Stream Elements so that it looks, unique to your channel.
Yep. You can use any Google font that's available, and then you can customize the color of the number or the symbols next to it. I believe you can even customize those symbols, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
But yeah, there's a lot of options out there, and that's just a basic free one. What's nice about that is it's based in the cloud, so your PC doesn't have any extra processing power. So there's a couple options when we're talking plugins and stream labels and things like that. You have the fully online version, which is Stream Elements, and is fantastic. I highly recommend using that whenever possible.
Yep.
There's also a locally running version called Stream. One second. It's called Streamlabs Stream Labels, I think. And that's an application that runs locally on your PC. I do run both, depending on what type of game that I'm streaming or what I'm doing, because as nice as this one looks, if I switch over to, I'll talk a little bit about scene collections while we get into that. So as Nerding showed, you've got your scene list down here, and you can have all your scenes set up. I have so many different types of streams that I do that I was really running in source constraints, having all those scenes in the same collection and having OBS be able to call those all immediately. So I started building out scene collections. So what I can do is I can go in here now and I can go to, say, let's look at my retro setup. So this is what I use for RGB high score and things like that. And this is what I was talking about with the changes in the way that these labels are displayed. So now I'm showing basically what is the Streamlabs Stream Labels setup. You have to have the app running in order for these to update. which is resource intensive. So only use this if it is aesthetically necessary, as is the case with this TV, because if I tried to bring in my Stream Elements label there, it would be really squished and small, and I don't think you'd be able to read it there in the speaker. So in these cases, I'll use the Streamlabs stream labels, but again, only if it's absolutely necessary. Let me go ahead and jump into a different one here. So we talked about, I set up a little demo. So we had some discussion around multiple cameras and things like that, and I just wanted to show you how simple that is. So if you have more than one camera in your setup, and you want to, say, be able to switch to a different angle, or maybe you're like some of us out there who do like shelf talks, and you want to have a camera on your shelf and not have to physically turn this camera. If you have another webcam or something like that, you can do that. And then just set up your hotkeys. So I go in here and I set up video capture device, one for my main camera, one for my secondary camera. There's a couple different things you can do with this. You could either set them up as different scenes and just have full screen with one camera and then use hotkeys to switch between the scenes. Or if you'd like to keep them in the same scene, just simply use these eyes that we were talking about before, and you can set hotkeys for that as well. So I can turn on my arcade camera right now, which is just on my arcade stick and buttons, and I can switch back and forth between the two really easily. So that's handy. Another trick I wanted to show you guys was something that comes up in a lot of streams. You may have seen a lot of popular streamers and even YouTubers use this trick. So I'm going to show you how to do it in a live setting, and that's to make it look like you're doing a cut zoom with your camera without actually touching your camera at all. So what you want to do, and this is the effect that we get. So if I had a reaction to, say, Cuphead, I could be like, what? and then it cuts back. Yeah. So
Classic.
To do this is pretty simple. So what you want to do is set up your scene as you normally would with all of your sources. For this demonstration, I just have a very simple camera one and my game capture. And that what you want to do is you can right click on your scene and duplicate and create your zoom 2. Then all you're doing, here, I'll create a zoom 2 from scratch. Let me just make a zoom 3. Show you guys how this works. So, well, actually I should duplicate that. Let me remove. Yep. Okay, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to duplicate this scene. It's going to ask me to label it. So 3. Okay. And that's going to give us the same exact thing as zoom 1. All we got to do to make this effect happen is resize your camera, however big you want the zoom to be. And there you go. Now you're just switching between the scenes to get that zoom. So something I want to cover with this real quick is transitions. Transitions are incredibly important, and being able to change up your transitions depending on the scenes you're working with is also very important. So for a zoom like this, you want a cut, or you could do a fade. So what you can do is you have a default in your scene transitions over here. So whatever you put here is going to be your default. But you can override that default by right-clicking on your scene and then going to Transition Override and then selecting None, Cut, Fade, whatever it is. If you have a stinger set up, you can select your stinger in here, whatever it is. So I'm just going to change these to Fade. And you guys will see a slightly different effect then. So you can see I can get a slightly different zoom effect there.
Yep.
Just by adding a different transition.
Nice.
So those are fun. Those are fun. Those are easy. That's some really basic, easy stuff. So I just wanted to share that because I know a lot of people see that and they're like, "Whoa, that's got to be the second camera or something." No, it's really that easy. Set up your scene, duplicate it, resize the camera, switch between the two. Easy peasy.
Amazing. Movie magic.
Movie magic, exactly. All right, so let's have a look at something a little more complex and talk about that. I'm going to get into my arcade setup here. So in the arcade setup, I've got 2 cameras, and I've got the capture, and then I have a fun overlay. I've got the source here from the browser source to keep those stats running. And this is a combination of everything that I've just showed you guys. So we have multiple cameras set up. I've done some cropping around the arcade stick and buttons. real quick note on some of these cameras, you'll notice this one is like super dark right now. One, it's not very well lit over there, but I will show you that there is a quirk with some webcams that the default exposure is way down. So let's talk about that real quick. You can go into, and I use Razer Kios for my my external webcams, and then a Sony for my main cam. We'll get into more hardware and things like that in another episode.
Yep.
But for the USB stuff, like I said, it can get a little tricky. So what you want to do is go into your properties and open up Configure Video after you have the right camera selected. That's going to bring up a little window like this. It's going to say Properties. Sometimes this stuff is going to be locked depending on the camera that you have. So like Razer, they have their own, it's like Razer Central or something like that. It's their own software suite where you can go in here and change things. But in camera control, just about every camera is going to let you mess with the focus and the exposure. So all I do is double click on this. You can see I just turned it on and turned it back off again. And it's so much better. Yeah. You can change it to auto. To me, this tends to wash things out, and it also bumps down your frame rate because your camera's trying to overcompensate for the lack of light. But if you just double click that checkbox, you're going to get a much cleaner view, and your frame rate's going to be, you know, whatever you wanted it to be, 30 frames, 60 frames, whatever your camera's set at. So good, handy little tip to have there. Another thing with these cameras, these USB cameras, very few, if any, run at 1080p 60 frames per second. A lot of them, if you bump it up to 1080p, it's going to knock the frame rate down to 30 frames. Yep. And I highly recommend running at 60 whenever you can, because more than likely that's what your game's going to be running at. And it's very confusing and strange to the eye to have your camera going in a different frame rate than the game. And it can be a little distracting for your viewers. So always try to match that 60 frames per second whenever you can. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yeah. So Nerding did talk a little bit about the filtering on the chroma key. So I'm going to show that real quick, both with my camera, and then I'm going to bring in a different kind of source to show you guys how you can have a little fun with your stream and make things a little more interactive with your audience. So I'm going to start here with my main cam. All you're going to do is right click on this and go to filters. So there are so many useful filters. I am going to cover a couple of them here. The first one we're going to look at is the chroma key. So right now it's off. All I got to do is turn this on, and you can see the green screen behind me is gone and is showing my background now. So what I want to do, though, is I want to start that from scratch. So I'm going to remove the key, and it's totally good there. I'm going to show you a little bit how to tweak this too and make your green screen look perfect, as opposed to maybe getting some green outlines around your chair or something like that. That's never good. It can look a little grainy and weird. So let's go ahead and add that chroma key back. I'm just going to call it chroma key. I don't really care. So by default, it's going to pick green. If you've got good lighting on your screen, you can see it looks pretty good as is. I'm just going to crop this up for the purposes of today's episode. Normally, I do have the whole room back there for arcade night, but let's just do this for now. So our green screen's gone. You can see there's still a little bit, maybe just a tiny bit of haze around me. So what I can do is I can turn up the smoothness a little bit. So that's going to get rid of some of that green line that's around me. If you turn it up too far, you're going to start seeing yourself disappear. So if you're looking for a ghostly effect for Halloween,
you could use that on one of your scenes or transitions too.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, these apply to more than cameras, guys. You can put this on images, which is what I'm going to show in a little bit, videos, et cetera, like there's so many uses for these filters that you can just get really creative and artistic with how your stream looks. So that's what the smoothness does. It'll even out some of those jagged edges. If I turn it all the way down, you can see now I have a very clear outline around me, and it just looks gross. Mm-hmm. So you do want to have some smoothness, and you can see as I move that up, perfect, beautiful. Now I am getting a little bit of green kind of reflecting off my hat here, just a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see it, but around my chair as well. So what you want to do is move this key color spill reduction. What that's going to do is it's going to look at the color that you told it to, be it green, blue, whatever. So if you don't have a green screen and you have like a blue sheet in your house, you can change this to any color you want. You can use blue, magenta, or even custom. When you go into custom, you can pick literally anything in the spectrum. This is also useful for, you know, if you're going to key out backgrounds of images and things like that to make it look like you have a transparent animation or something like that playing. The background can be any color. As long as it's a solid color, you just go in here and change it. So I'm going to leave that at green. And then this key color spill reduction was what I was talking about. So as I move this up, you'll notice that green starts disappearing altogether, and I get a much more even shade. But as we move this up more, and more, you'll notice I start going totally grayscale. So you do
Monochromatic.
have, yeah, you do have to find that balance of where it takes away the green shade, but still leaves you not looking like, well, super pasty like me. So that's about where you want it. There are some other controls in here, like similarity. Similarity is good if your shade of green isn't the exact shade of green for keying. What you can do is you can move the similarity up and down. So you can see as I move it down, now it's going to be looking at the different shades of green in my green screen and sort of filtering some of that back in that doesn't exactly match the green. So you can move it up more, and you can move this again up to the point where I'm pretty much gone. So finding that balance is really key. I'm going to leave it right about there. That looks pretty good.
The thing that I'll just comment on that real fast is your lighting in your house. If like you're streaming at different times of the day, the lighting's going to affect that. So you might have to tweak that. You know, if you see a lot of people's stream setups or whatever, it's always like kind of dark and they always have specific light, like a key light, shining right on them. So, lighting is very important when you're using a green screen. That's for sure.
Massively important. Anytime you're dealing with video, once this camera comes out, lighting is right up there with audio. Like, it's incredibly important. Ideally, what you would do is have two light sources. I've actually got several light sources around this area. Ideally, you would want at least two. So one on you and one on your screen, or have two pointing kind of from the corners. Here, I'll try to bring this over here so you guys kind of from the corners and put you in the middle of them and have the lights facing you like this. So what that's going to do is reduce shadows on your green screen, meaning you'll have to fiddle with this a lot less.
Gotcha. All right. Looks like Praise is taking off. Thanks again, Praise, for hanging out. Really appreciate you, man. Let's see. RGB lighting will also totally mess you up your shot if you happen to be so. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah,
I have so the logos are green, and I have stuff on my shirts, and it kind of washes them out on my stream. So bad choice of color combination, I guess, on my point if I want to put them on a green screen. But I get exactly what you're saying there, Crit. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely, Crit. I do have RGB lighting place so I can select the colors at will. So when the green screen's away, yeah, lots of pretty colors. When you do have a green screen up, I highly recommend either a soft white or an intense white, just somewhere in there. Because otherwise, like I said, you're going to start throwing off that shade of green, which means you're going to have to spend a lot more time in here, and you may end up keying out parts of yourself. I recently did a Legend of Zelda stream where I was wearing a Zelda hat. And as soon as I sat down and started testing, part of my head disappeared.
Head's gone.
So just things to be conscious of.
Yep. Yeah. The chair that I'm sitting in right here, when I do the happy hour stream, my green screen is just a sheet. So I just pull the sheet up over the back of my chair here, and wow, the chair's gone. Imagine that.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so I do want to show one more thing with the chroma key before I show you guys another filter that may be very fun and useful for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a new source. I'm going to bring in a media source. So if you're bringing in a video or you want to use media source instead of just dragging that image from a folder into OBS, because when you drag an image or a video from a folder into OBS, it's going to just treat it as an image file, whether that's a JPEG, a GIF, or a video. It's just going to treat it as, okay, I have some sort of imagery here, which means you don't get the option to loop it. Yep. So make sure you add it as a media source. I'm just going to add a new one, and we're going to call this one Keyboard Cat. So I'm going to bring in a Keyboard Cat that has a green screen behind it. I'm going to show you guys how to take that out. So if you caught my last cooking show, I had a meme portal in my kitchen, and that was essentially awesome. Thanks, man. That was essentially just this green screen set up in my kitchen, and then I keyed it out and put like a portal animation behind it, and then using chat commands allowed the crowd to pull up some GIFs. So let me bring that up. So I'm going to do Keyboard Cat. I'm going to look through here, and let's find Keyboard Cat. Here we go. So we've got keyboard cat here, and I'm going to loop him so he doesn't disappear. So if you uncheck loop, it's just going to play through the animation once and then go invisible. Or you can loop it so it just plays infinitely. If you're looking to call these as commands, I'm not going to get into the technical aspect of that because it's insanely complicated.
Right, like the ones that you use for yeah and yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
that stuff. Setting that up gets pretty complex, and there's also a lot of custom work that goes into it. We can cover that in another episode, maybe down the line.
Yep.
But for the purposes of time tonight, I'm going to skip that. So we've got our file. It's just a video file in MP4.
Oh, there you
we're
go.
looping it. Yeah, that's something I really love about OBS is the flexibility in media types that you can use. You can use AV files, MP4s, GIFs, images, whatever you want. Just about OBS can handle it. So I'm going to click OK, and it's going to bring in our visible source. All right, so we've got our keyboard cat here. Let's say I want him up here on my arcade. I'm just going to have him rocking along with Cuphead. Okay. So we've got our keyboard cat. I'm actually going to bring him over to the right. Oh. So that is something else important to know about OBS Studio, guys. It doesn't have an undo.
Yeah, Control Z never works. I always try it.
I so badly wish they would add that, but just be conscious of that. If you have multiple things selected and you accidentally move it, you have to manually move it back into place.
That's one of the tips that I recommend. Over there on your sources, you can hit that lock button, and now those ones, if you have something where you want it, so over to the right, yep, over there.
Oh,
yeah,
hey!
Lock those, and they won't move.
I am learning all kinds of stuff.
There you go. Hey, what's up,
today.
Persnickety? Yeah.
Persnickety Sea Cow. Hey, welcome.
Once you get something locked in where you like it, or you have something positioned where you like it, hit that lock button, and you won't be able to select it or move it. Yep. See, I lock everything. Yep.
That's awesome. And I see Crit has a really interesting tip in here too. So if you drag the video into your source list instead of the preview, it'll import it as a media source automatically. Thank you for the time saving, sir.
Yes.
Really appreciate that. Wow, look at all this knowledge sharing.
This is what it's all about, man.
Yeah. All right, so we've got our green screen keyboard cat. All I'm going to do is the same exact thing I did for my camera. I'm going to go over here to my video file. You still get the same list of filters, right? Because it is a video source, much like this video capture. Mm-hmm. So I just add my chroma key. And there you go. It looks like he's got a little bit of an outline, so I'm just going to turn that smoothness up a little bit. And the similarity up just a tiny bit.
Okay. Thanks again for the tips. You've contributed. We'll let you go.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you dropping in. Thanks. But yeah, there we go. So now we have what appears to be a cat playing the keyboard right on my arcade banner. So you can get really creative with this and really spice up your streams a little bit, give some interesting visual pops here and there. And a lot of these, I mean, they're freely available out there on the internet, but you can also make your own in video editors, photo editors, and things like that, and just put a green background on it. That way, when you get into OBS, you just key that out, and there you go. You've got a cool little animation.
Sweet. Awesome.
There is just one more thing I want to show you guys, and it is a filter. So if I'm going to turn off my this camera, I'm going to turn off my secondary camera so you can see. So what I have in my background here is a looping video file of some pixels on a rainbow scale from left to right. And one of the channel point rewards I have now is change the background color. You can do this really easily in real time with a filter called color correction. So I'm going to go into my file here. I'm going to go into filters, and you can already see that I have it active because I wanted a blue-purple pixel behind me. So I've already adjusted this a little bit. But you turn on your color correction, you go over here into hue shift, and you just adjust this slider, and you'll see all those colors change.
Wow.
So then you can do that kind of stuff in real time. And again, it's another fun interactive element for your stream. If you wanted to do something cool for Halloween, you can apply this as well to your camera. So let me go ahead and just jump on my camera here. We'll have a little fun with this. Main camera, I'm going to go, not properties, cancel that, filters. And I'm going to add the color correction. And I'm going to do a hue shift. And there we go. I can be like the purple monster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, or you wouldn't like me when I'm angry. So you can really have all kinds of fun with this stuff, guys. And I encourage you to get out there and be creative with some of the stuff that we've shown you tonight. There's obviously a lot of potential here, and just a lot of fun. So yeah, get into OBS, mess with some of these filters, and have some fun with it. It can really be a great time.
Real quick,
Yeah.
on that filter that you just added, can you can do that on top of your chroma key, right? So if you chroma keyed the background out, you can still keep that. Hey, what's up, Happy Cow? You can still keep that filter that you have there.
Yes, that is true. So if I go into here, but as you're adjusting that color, you gotta keep in mind
Balance the other ones. Yep.
Yeah, you gotta balance the other ones. So let me just find that camera. Okay, so if I go in here and I add my chroma key, yeah, so the chroma key is still going to, oh, that's interesting. I never tried that. So even though I'm still green, the green screen is gone. And I assume that's because OBS takes chroma key, and it might be because, let me see how this is layered.
The layering, yeah.
Just try to bump this one up.
Yep,
it's the layering.
Oh, so now you're really in disguise.
Yeah. So it's all in the layering. So if you have your chroma key at the top, it's going to look at your raw video feed without any other filters and key out the green. That way you can go into your color correction then, as long as you have it lower in the list, and then you can play with all this stuff. I can up the saturation so I glow. I'm kind of radioactive.
Oh, yeah.
You can do all kinds of stuff. Opacity's in here, so again, if you're looking for that ghostly look, you can do that here. Some of our video editors and photo editors out in the crowd might see that there is a lot of overlap here. So if you have that experience, again, get in here and dig in. You'll find a lot of familiar functionality.
Cool. Awesome. And it's free.
So,
OBS is free.
OBS is 100% free. That is actually the last thing I wanted to touch on with you guys. OBS recently put out an update, and I haven't updated my version yet. But over here in the controls, there's a new button now called Start Virtual Webcam.
Oh, I have that. I see that over on mine. Yep.
Yeah, so that's another way you can use OBS. I use it in a professional setting now to do software demos and client presentations and things like that. And let me tell you, it blows people away because outside of Twitch, where do you see this stuff? So OBS has not just applications in our streaming and gaming world, but out there in the professional world too, depending on what you do. So very cool stuff. Before I close out my scene, is there any questions from the crowd?
Yeah. Anybody see anything cool you want him to tweak or have questions on? We're definitely here. Let me pull up while we're waiting.
Oh, just gonna turn these off so I go back to normal.
Just so that you look normal. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know I've done a lot of crazy streams in the past, so if you've seen anything out there you have questions on, I'm always happy to answer them. Be it right here in the chat, or you can always DM me on Twitter. Right here on Twitch as well. I don't check the Twitch messages as much, but I will see it the next time I go to stream.
Cool. Yeah, I think we blew everyone's mind. They're flabbergasted.
Awesome. Well, yeah. I hope you guys learned something, and I hope it was at least entertaining, hopefully educational. I do enjoy these so much.
Yeah, this is really fun. It's exciting. Again, even if it's just learning from the community and from you, because again, we learned some things from Crit, we learned some stuff from Sigma and all that. Do you guys ever use OBS for work config stuff in terms of video source? I think that's what Dux was just talking about, the new Start Virtual Camera.
Mm-hmm.
Can you feed it into Google Meet, etc.?
Yeah. So what this does, Persnickety Sea Cow, is it essentially creates it tells Windows that OBS is now a webcam. Oh. So any software.
Thank you so much for the tip. Awesome.
Whoa, thank you, Farrell. That's amazing.
Yeah,
thank you so much. Hey, high five.
Yeah, what's up?
But yeah, so you can definitely use it in any software that uses a webcam. I've personally used it in Zoom and Microsoft Teams, and it works seamlessly there.
Awesome.
So yeah, those are absolutely, it's like I said, it's a great platform for any type of broadcasting. I use it for software demos now, and yeah, one, I hear the same thing. Wow, we've never seen anything like that. That's so cool. How do you do it? Et cetera, et cetera. So if you want to blow a few minds at work, get out that virtual webcam.
That's awesome. Yeah.
You are most welcome, Farrell.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, cool. That answered what you were looking for there, Persnickety. Awesome. Glad that we could answer that question for you, man.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, good stuff.
Anybody
All right.
else? I am looking for a person to raid here. While we still have an audience.
Sounds
Doesn't
good. Sounds good.
let's see.
While we're doing that, there is something I saw that I might that you guys might go ahead and still find the raid. This
Yeah,
won't
yeah.
take very long.
Okay.
I'm gonna go over into here. So you see this scrolling text I have at the bottom here? That's not a pre-recorded video or anything like that or an animation. You can do that right in OBS with the text tool. So I'm gonna go over to my text here. There we go. For the RGB, I call it the RGB ticker. So we go into our text, and you can see that I'm reading from a file. So what you can do is create just a notepad file with whatever text you want on screen. I also use this for my viewer's choice to have a scrolling list. So you go in there and you select your file, your font, etc., all that good stuff. Click OK there. And you want to jump into filters again, and text has different filters. So you can add a filter called scroll. And then you can set the horizontal speed to whatever you want. So I can have it scroll faster. I can have it scroll in reverse. If I wanted to, I could have it scroll up and down. All from this little filter here. So again, just something to add that little bit of interactivity.
And what is it pulling? Sorry, I missed. What is it? So I see people's names. What is it?
So what I did is there's all these names. These are all people score tournament with me.
Okay.
And part of the fun of doing my stream was I took those names and those times and I put
Gotcha.
them in just a notepad file. So that way
Gotcha.
when people tune in, they can see the current status of the tournament.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can do all kinds of cool stuff like that. Yeah, that is true, Sigma. You could probably write a script to update that file. I know like Streamlabs stream labels, that's how it works. It actually writes these updates whenever somebody follows or subscribes. It goes out and it writes that name to a text file that's local.
Yeah.
And then it reads that text file to bring these labels back in.
Cool.
So you can absolutely write scripts to update text files, and then you can do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Awesome. Well, let's go raid Chinese Hulk. He's playing Among Us, and that seems like a really popular game these days. So let's go say hi to him.
Yeah, and Chinese Hulk is an awesome guy.
Yeah,
So
he's
awesome.
he's
Very
a
cool.
guy. So let's find him. And we will get a raid started, go over to see him. Again, thanks everybody for hanging out. Thanks again to you, Ducks. That was really awesome. Again, we really,
Very cool.
I learned a lot, even from just the time that we had today. So hopefully you guys did too. Real quick, next in 2 weeks we'll be back again doing accessories. So we talked about the PCs and stuff last time. We'll talk about capture cards, cameras, those kind of stuff next time, and how getting those to work in your sources works. So thanks again, guys.
Awesome.
Really appreciate you. Let's send the raid over to Chinese Hulk.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
All right, I think we're over there.
Yep, looks like we switched over.
Okay.
Awesome.
Hit